The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. 3 years ago on this date, the Progressive Liberal Party led by Philip Brave Davis swept the election polls and stormed into government with a 32-7 majority. While this victory continued the trend of the Bahamas changing governments in every election for the past 27 years. It continues. It also represented the evolution of how Bahamians view politics and their willingness to demand change should administrations not live up to the sacred oath of governing for the people. The Davis-led administration came to office on the premise of creating a new day. 3 years in, like most administrations before, it grapples with a demanding citizenry, global crisis, a slow-moving public service, aging laws, and the likes, while fighting to deliver victories promised during a short and pretty much online campaign. While some argue that the government is succeeding in delivering its promises, while others charge the wheels are turning too slow and the gaps can be many. Well, having just passed the midpoint in his term, the man at the helm is here tonight to address critical questions connected to his administration's performance in office, and with another general election on the horizon, how and if they will get it all done. Those are the big issues. But first, yesterday, the governing party gave thanks to God for 3 years in office. It was at that service of Thanksgiving at the East Street Church of God of Prophecy Tabernacle that Prime Minister Davis reflected on his administration's time in office, pretty much summed it up like this.
We ended harmful, punitive policies, replacing them with policies that offered relief and renewal. We pulled the country back from the fiscal brink. We revitalized tourism, creating new jobs, partnerships, and investments. We gained respect and standing on the global stage, promoted our country, stood up for their fair climate finance, worked to get our country off the blacklist, brought major sporting events to the Bahamas, and strengthened our partnerships to protect our borders. We have signed dozens of labor agreements, raised the minimum wage, put free Wi-Fi in our parks, conducted a nationwide learning assessment, launched innovative agriculture programs and a new trade office, expanded urban renewal outreach, added 15 new ambulances to our fleet, renovated clinics, recruited healthcare professionals, provided grants to small businesses, increased funding to local governments in our family islands, and cleared a backlog of thousands of promotions in our public service.
Well, please welcome my first guest on the rundown tonight, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis. Welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you here.
It's my pleasure being with you, particularly on your launch of this rundown.
You've seen our shows so far. You've seen the Bahamas tonight. You're in our studios. Pretty much impressed?
Well, I see some transformation, and I trust it's for the best.
Thank you, sir. Let's get right into it. You're now 3 years in office, just past the halfway mark. Are things going as you anticipated? Is the country where you thought it would be at this point?
Well, let me just say that I think the country is where I would have expected at this point when we took the helm 3 years ago. We have made enormous strides, and no doubt there has been great improvements, but we still have a lot of work to do. We have achieved a lot, but as I said, there's still a lot to be done to make the country that we wish to have as the Bahamas, ensuring that there's access to opportunities for Bahamians, ensuring that Bahamians feel safe in their homes, and also ensuring that there's economic security with dignity for our people. And that vision is still out there to achieve.
We talk about it. Sorry, go ahead.
We're going somewhere, and I think we're getting there.
You talk about notable achievements. What stands out to you when we talk about achievements that you believe your administration have marked? What are some of those achievements?
Well, first of all, when we took off, before taking office, our mantra and our overarching objective was, first of all, was rooted in recovery, rebuild, and revolutionizing our economy. Recovery because we knew we had to pull ourselves out of deep crisis relating to our fiscal stability, crisis relating to our educational crisis, hospital crisis, and turning back some of the harsh policies that we met. And immediately, we rolled up our sleeves, and we went into recovery mode. Now, recovery was not the final destination, because in my view, and having observed what's been happening over the many years for the Bahamas, that was not the final destination, because we recognize that over the past several years, Bahamians were still being left behind, even though the economy was sometimes good, sometimes bad, but it was still not working for all Bahamians. And so, as I said, recovery was not the final destination. But as I said, we rolled up our sleeves. We dug ourselves out of the ditch. We now have a stable fiscal landscape, and we have rebuilt to now take off to the next level.
I want to go right into some of the challenges, because you've talked about some of the things you've achieved. And then there are some of those things that have caused some level of challenges for you. We think a lot about the BPL saga. Many people are hoping that they can lower their electricity bills by some reforms taking place. We knew we started out with, we've heard people talk about the hedging, the hedge funding, and that seemed to be a gray area there as to whether that was a fault of your administration. And then the reform of BPL, and you making a commitment that the electricity bills will be lower during the summer months, and for some people that did not happen. And now the complex issue of bringing in a partner. Do you believe you can get it done? And what is the challenge why BPL continues to challenge consecutive administrations?
First of all, we will get it done. We inherited a BPL that had an aging infrastructure. The grid, which is critical for distribution and transmission, is archaic. We inherited engines and a BPL infrastructure that dates back to prior to independence. Over the last many years, under several administrations, all has been happening is patchwork. I recall that in 2016, 2015, we had commenced the reformation of BPL. That's when we formed BPL, passed new legislation to put it on the right track. Alas, we were not there to carry it through. But now we are there, and we are carrying it through. We are, as we speak, improving our grid. We are intending to bring very soon utility solar microgrids to the country, not just in New Providence, but to the Family Islands, bringing 70 megawatts of solar, 35 megawatts of battery saving, and we are on the way to delivering to the Bahamian people that which we promised. And we promised that, yes, you will have affordable, reliable electricity in due course. There was a hit in the bill for July and August, but that's now been corrected. I invite them to look at what is coming for their September bills, and we'll see where those savings will be coming. And we intend to continue lowering the cost of electricity to the whole Bahamas. Electricity has been the elephant in our room for many, many years. It has hampered growth. Electricity bill is almost akin to someone's electricity, to their mortgage, and the time has come for us to make sure that there's distance between those expenses to our Bahamian people. And of course, it contributes a lot to the high cost of living. We have addressed it, and we'll be seeing the fruits of our efforts over the last year. But you should see this month continuing for quite a while.
So Bahamians can expect to see it continuous, the fact that their electricity bills will be lowered?
Yes, and as soon as all of the improvements would have been made, as I said, we are improving all of its infrastructure, and as soon as those improvements are made, the electricity bill will continue to go down. One of my mandate to the partners we have is to ensure that we bring immediate relief to the Bahamian people. And that is one of the objectives of the reform that we have, and they will be seeing some immediate relief as we speak.
I have to ask this question because anybody who understands BPL and what it's suffered with, it's an old, outdated, ancient structure. Can you provide relief with that kind of structure? Is that even possible?
Well, it is, and you'll be seeing it now, because as you speak, we are already working on the grid. We've already identified the challenge we have been, having is that BPL has been renting generators over the past 6-7 years. We're eliminating the rental of generators, and we are now bringing in generators that will be using LNG, gas, will be having as part of the mix what they call utility solar to continue to lower the cost, and we'll be seeing that not years from now. We'll be seeing work starting in respect to the solar within the next several weeks, several months.
I want to move to the issue many people are grappling with, and that is crime. So many people have been affected either directly or indirectly as a victim, or perhaps knowing somebody who's been a perpetrator of crime. It's an issue consecutive governments seem to struggle with, finding a solution. Do you believe that there is a war that can be won while your administration is in office, and how are you going about addressing it? I know you had talked about before gun manufacturers being able to hold their feet to the fire because we don't manufacture guns in the Bahamas. Are you making any movement on that headway? And do you believe that you are winning the war on crime, or is it simply too challenging to win?
I like a challenge. I believe we will win this war on crime, and there has been incremental improvement in crime. The challenge has been, as you pointed out, the violent crime with the use of guns, and we are a part of an action that was started by the Mexican government against gun manufacturers and gun shop owners in Boston. We've become part of it through amicus brief to ensure that we attempt to deter the illegal importation of guns in the Bahamas. In addition to joining that, we also have implemented a number of local measures. We have, I have a 5-pronged plan that deals with prevention, prosecution, deals with punishment, and rehabilitation. And what we are paying much attention to is prevention. And that's where it lies. And so we are investing a lot in prevention by investing in our young people, identifying positive initiatives for them to be engaged in, like, for example, our National Youth Guard program, our Second Chance programs. That is all some of the initiatives that we started. In the police force, we have the Saturation Patrol, which is meant to ensure that police presence are in these hotspots areas to deter any idea or impulse to commit a crime. And so those are some of the things we feel that we will win this war, and of course we can't do it alone, and we expect our Bahamian people to join us and when you see something, say something, so that we could continue to make inroads in the scourge of crime that is afflicting our society.
If you talk to Bahamian people, they will tell you that a big part of being able to address crime is having trust in the people and God to protect us. That trust seems to be eroding with what we see recently. There seems to be concerns in the police force as far as with integrity. We saw the situation at the CID. A senior officer is now on leave. Investigations are being done to see, what happened and transpired there. What say you about that? The public seems to be very upset that police force seems to have integrity issues. What say you about that, sir?
Well, the public is right to have their concerns. One of the critical factor of effective policing is for the public to have confidence in the police force, because it is the public that you rely on to provide you with intelligence. It's the public you rely on to assist you in detecting crimes. It's the public you rely on to help you with preventing of crime. And where there's that lack of trust and confidence, you will have this breakdown. So they are rightly concerned about what is happening in the police force. Me too, I'm concerned. But there's a process. You have to allow the process to be carried out. I want to assure the Bahamian public that that process will be carried out with integrity and with objectivity, and the results will be known and the chips will fall where they may. The need to restore the confidence of the public in the police force is paramount, and we will ensure that we work to ensure that that happens.
We're going to take a break here, but when we come back, there's some other issues we want to bring to you, Prime Minister, while you're hitting the ball. Campaign financing reform, that's always an issue people are concerned about. Grand Bahama, we want to talk about what is the result of that going to be happening. Do you expect anything at all to come out of it? And let's talk about the growth of Grand Bahama. And then, of course, inflation, we're going to take that on as well. And then the gas retailers. Any solution to this aging concern, we're going to take those on when we come back. You're watching The Rundown. We're back with Prime Minister Davis right after this. Stay close.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
JMC Bank, JMC TCI, and Sunset Village Fish Fry present I'm a Boatman, featuring KB and Fred, D-Mac, Tino D, Nishi Ellen, Sweet Emily, Wilfred Sullivan, Funky D, DVS, Veronica Bishop, Papa Smurf, Sherrod Taylor, Lil Joe Cartwright, Mama D, Colin McDonough, Chad Cully, and the VIP. And from Turks Island, the Proficient Band, and host Super P. There'll also be performances by The Swinger and the Platinum Nights Jokino Group. Sunday, October 13th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock. Sponsored by the Ministry of Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism.
Welcome back to The Rundown. A special good evening to all of you, especially those of you joining me online on our ZNS Facebook page, also known as the Lion's Den. Yeah, we moved. We have a new home now. It's here at ZNS. And also those of you on YouTube. And of course, we will be talking with you throughout our shows all week and getting your feedback. So welcome to the Lion's Den. We continue our conversation with Prime Minister Davis on the 3rd anniversary of his government in office. And Prime Minister, before the break, we started to talk about the issue of campaign finance reform. It comes up with almost every administration, the need to bring campaign finance reform. Is this a realistic thing, and what steps are you willing to take to bring campaign finance reform?
Well, first of all, it is not, we talk about campaign funding reform. We have to appreciate what that is all about. We have looked at it. Successive governments have looked at it, and one of the common denominator where you have campaign finance law is a pivot to relying on donors to your campaign, and the public purse is then engaged to fund political parties to run their campaign. Do I want to put that on the Bahamian people at this time? I think not. And also, when you think of what is the purpose for campaign law reforms, right? Yes, you want to ensure that you are receiving money from credible people. I think as a political party, we ought to be responsible enough to ensure that we are receiving monies from what I call good actors as opposed to bad actors. We want to ensure that there's no quid pro quo from donor to donor. In addition, in the Bahamas, I have found that many persons who would donate to a party would not wish for others to know. And very often, the same person would donate to both parties. And they would not want that to be disclosed. At this time, though, my focus is delivering on my promises to the Bahamian people. There are too many challenges that they face today. As I said, a lot has been done, but there's still much more to do. And that much more to do at the moment, campaign finance laws and my being distracted to determine how that should be structured will be distracting me from my real purpose at this time.
Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama has been something that you have touted as giving considerable focus to. You have been the first administration to take on head-to-head the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Is this just theatrics, or do you expect an actual outcome out of this? And how does that play into what you plan on seeing or leading for the transformation of Grand Bahama?
I've never been an actor. So theatrics is something that I watch but not participate in. I know Grand Bahama, having lived in Grand Bahama in the early 70s, acted as a magistrate in Grand Bahama in the 70s, and been watching Grand Bahama promise and potential dying as a fig on a tree. And looking at what the Hawksbill Creek Agreement ordained with the partnership between the Port Authority and the Bahamas government, and when it was reworked in the early 1970 with what they called the Bouguet Agreement, Grand Bahama, through its present ownership today, has failed the Grand Bahamian people, and they have not lived up to their obligations under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. So successive governments, for whatever reason, never held their feet to the fire. I'm determined to make a difference in Grand Bahama because I know of its potential, and I know the Grand Bahamian wants more from what is happening for them on that island. And we are proceeding to ensure that they live up to their contractual obligations and ensure that Grand Bahama realizes its potential. We as a government have already attracted billions of dollars into Grand Bahama as I speak. But that's what we did. And we'll continue to do that because we do have responsibility to the Bahamians who live in the port area. But what is Grand Bahama, the Port Authority, doing? Collecting their license fees, etc. And what else?
They're concerned that your plight could impact investment on Grand Bahama. What do you say to that?
Well, just look and see. Has it? It has not, right? And we are still attracting the amount of inquiries we're having on investing in Grand Bahama continues to abound. And we are investing in Grand Bahama and attracting other investors from abroad. That has always been the boogeyman in the room whenever a government intends to assert that the Port Authority should live up to their contractual obligation. The first thing is say, oh, if you do that, investors will shy away. Well, if an investor will be disinclined to invest in Grand Bahama because the Bahamas government is insisting on the Port Authority living up to its contractual obligation, then I have to think of what kind of investor that person will be. I would expect that any bona fide investor would want to applaud anyone or government who is insisting that the other party to a contractual arrangement live up to those arrangements.
Inflation has impacted Bahamians and residents alike, not just in the Bahamas, but globally. Inflation is impacting citizens of the world. How are you tackling inflation? We see grocery prices continue to rise despite concessions at the port and despite concessions your government may give to some of the larger companies who can afford to pay. How are you going to significantly make a dent in inflation that Bahamians can actually feel it?
Well, first of all, when we speak about inflation, it is now settling, but it is the It's a legacy of that inflation over the last couple of years that is still hurting the Bahamian people. We have, recalling now that we are a consumptive society, a consumptive economy, and things happen outside of our remit that we have no control on. If gas prices go up, what could we do about that? If food prices that we're importing go up, what can we do about that? What we have done that we can do, for example, is to lower import duties on imported goods, which we did over the last 3 years. But we are not seeing that being passed on to the customers. We have lowered VAT from 12% to 10%. Instead, of course, rising it to 15%, which was the recommendation before we took office. We lowered it, right? We have also attempted to look at how we could get people to appreciate that we've also investing, in agriculture to see how we could feed ourselves, to cut down on our imports. So we have the Golden Yolk program, egg program, that's on place. We have done massive investments in agriculture to decide how we can feed ourselves to ensure that we could rely less on import items. We will continue. There are some other issues, some structural issues that impact the cost of living here. And the challenge has been that all of the efforts we have taken, for example, we increased the minimum wage to assist. We, in the public service, we did the promotional exercise and reclassification exercise, made payments to all of the public service. We signed 33 labor agreements to ensure that workers are properly taken care of and secure in their jobs. We did all those things to ensure that there's more money in the Bahamian people's pocket. The unfortunate thing is that inflation has eaten most of those savings, and that's why it appears as though nothing has been done by us. But you can look down the list of what we have done to alleviate the burden of the cost of living that's been brought on by global matters. For example, the disruption in the supply chain following COVID, the war that's now going on in Ukraine and now in the Middle East, that's impacted and affected a lot of the things that happen outside of us. The challenge is that what happens in other countries do impact us in our country.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to get an update with the gas retailers. That ongoing, what it seems to be a feud between the government and gas retailers. Is there any resolution in sight? And then, of course, we're going to take on the big question. People talk about your travel. Why you're traveling? We'll let you answer that after the break. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
Get ready for a game-changing show that's redefining entrepreneurship. Welcome to The Blueprint, where innovation meets inspiration.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Beckles, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to The Business Blueprint, the newest and most exciting entrepreneurship show coming to your screens. You can expect hard conversations and the answers you need to develop your business. As your host, I'm ready to celebrate the future of entrepreneurship and give you an exclusive look at the amazing work happening right now. On The Business Blueprint, we're bringing you face-to-face with the visionaries and trailblazers who are reshaping modern business in the Bahamas. From groundbreaking startups to game-changing ideas, we're diving deep into the stories behind their success. But that's not all. We're also bringing you mentorship insights, where we'll dive into your questions and share valuable tips directly from our experts. The Business Blueprint isn't just a show, it's a movement. We're here to inspire, inform, and ignite the entrepreneurial spirit in all of us. Whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur or just passionate about innovation, the Business Blueprint is for you. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Business Blueprint. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world of entrepreneurship. We can't wait to share the Business Blueprint with you. See you soon.
Welcome back to the Rundown. Our guest tonight is Prime Minister Davis, and I see you, Lions Den. I see you loud and strong representing online. I'm seeing your comments. I can't wait to get to them. Of course, this is a formal show with the Prime Minister, so you know by tomorrow we can start talking back and forth. But let's hear from the Prime Minister tonight. Prime Minister, I want to move right into, obviously, the tensions that's been going on between gas retailers and the government. Constant back and forth. They want to increase their margins. They say they cannot survive. They have even threatened on Wednesday when Parliament reconvenes from its break to demonstrate. Your administration has said consecutively that we're watching so that it does not negatively impact Bahamians. Is there a resolve to this ongoing concern?
Well, I'm happy to say that we have resolved those issues.
You have?
Yeah, and it's been a long haul. Part of the issue is, yes, my concern was what impact it's going to have on the Bahamian people, and we are satisfied. We have satisfied ourselves now that there could be movement, and today we settled the issues that they had with them. And this has been an ongoing, and the retailers were well aware of the challenges that we're having and that they were having. I was sympathetic to them. About a year and a half ago, we did make an initiative to assist them, which we did, for which they were grateful. And we had promised to get back to them on this matter, and we finally got a resolve, and the timing is now right for us to do what we're doing, because it will not have the kind of negative impact on the Bahamian people that it would have had if we'd done it sooner.
Well, Prime Minister, you're in the rundown. You know I'm going to ask you, what is the resolve?
Well, the resolve is that there will be an increase in their margin, both for gasoline and gas and diesel, added to their margin, and it would not have, as I said, the deleterious effect on the Bahamian public as it would have done if we had done it much earlier.
So Bahamians can expect to see a slight increase at the pumps?
Yes, but not major.
When you say not major, what, are you going to give us some figures?
Well, it's like 25 cents on gasoline and 15 cents on diesel.
All right, so we can see that increase. And you believe that's manageable for the Bahamian people?
It is manageable when we look at, first of all, how gas prices have declined over the last year and continuing to decline, and we expect that gas prices will continue to decline through to at least December of this year.
Let's talk about what I call the elephant in the room, travel. It's been something that the opposition has chided you for, saying you're jet setting all over the world. This weekend you're going to be heading to New York for the United Nations General Assembly and to participate in Climate Week in New York, which is a major deal in New York. Talk about the concern that Bahamian people have about your travel.
Well, as I indicated earlier, we are a consumptive society. Our economy is consumptive, which means that we depend on the world to be able to survive. And you're not going to survive by sitting home. When we talk about crime, for example, which we just spoke about, we need to be able to have partnerships to ensure that we could curtail, for example, illegal migrants, gun trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that staying home because we cannot do it alone. And so forging partnerships to assist in deterrence of these pernicious conduct, you can only do it by having partnership. Sitting at home will not, of course, assist in that effort. We take my Attorney General, right? We've been blacklisted, right? We are also having challenges with the view of how the tax architecture of the world is being implemented. We're not going to be able to resolve that sitting home. Any number of factors, right? We are in the alleyway we're in the Hurricane Alley, right? We are one of the most vulnerable countries in the world when it comes to climate change, right? My island, Cat Island, I could point to how the sea has swallowed up parts of my island. There has to be climate justice for countries like ours. Almost 40% of our debt today is as a result of us spending to recover from disastrous events caused by climate change. How are we going to be able to defend ourselves in the world? How are we going to seek climate finance justice by sitting at home and just being just what dead duck to the exigencies of hurricanes and other disasters? And so we are not going to be able to achieve anything just sitting home. I was so happy the other day. The Livery Association in the Bahamas paid a courtesy call on me. They were trying to see me for quite a while and didn't quite know why. And they came to me, about the executives, about 12 of them came to my office. You know, they're talking about, the first thing they said, he said, Mr. Davis, I now see why you travel, because we are the beneficiary of it. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, the African Exim Bank held their conference here in June. All of us here and more benefited mightily. And they talk about the amount of monies that they made. That was when we had over 7,500 delegates at and that came here because travel, meeting the executives of the bank, they got to develop a relationship with me. And even though they have a window, an office in Barbados, where you would have thought they would have taken their board meeting, they chose to come to the Bahamas. Why? Because they met me. Last year, we had a challenge in Haiti, where our personnel had been assaulted by the Haitian National Police, and they were almost being held hostage. The week before that incident, I met the president of Dominican Republic. I called him and said, look, I need help. I have 6 of my mission personnel in Haiti being almost held hostage. How do I get them out? They said, the president said, Louis said, Brave, just give me an hour. He called us back in an hour, and he said, we'll get them out. And he sent 2 of his army helicopters into Haiti, evacuated them, took them to Dominican Republic, and that's how we got them back home. If I hadn't traveled, I would not have known Louis to call him the president of the Dominican Republic. What would have happened to our business? And so, traveling, I don't travel I'm trying to put the Bahamas back on the map. And guess what? Our reputation has been restored in the international world. The Bahamas is known. How do you think we attract investors to the country? And I'm not saying that the Bahamians are not. It is fair for the Bahamians to ask, well, what is he traveling? What's the outcome? And I accept that. But I want them to see what is happening.
You're seeing the benefits of the travel.
The tourism, the investors that we're attracting, and the fact that one of the key element of my travel is to ensure that we get financing for the existential threat that is upon us with the climate change.
I want to talk about investment. You started talking about investments. Are we seeing new investments, particularly here in the capital? Are you seeing those resorts and those investments that have been here? Are they satisfied with what they're doing here in the Bahamas based on how government is running office?
Well, I must say that, what you asked a question about investors losing confidence in us because of our conduct with the Port Authority. Well, I can say we are happy with the response of our investors. So, for example, tomorrow or very shortly, we're going to be signing a heads of agreement with Bahama, where they're going to be developing the next door another 400 rooms hotel where they have taken down Malaya. That's going to be replaced with a 400-room hotel, plus a 70 luxury condos with amenities. And I met with the owner last year, Christmas, because I was attempting to get them to open at Malaya. He said, I'll do something better, Mr. Davis. I'm going to break it down and build something new for you.
And he kept that promise.
And he kept that promise. We have on Paradise Island, next to the one and only, they're going to be building and investing there as well. Not to talk about what's happening in the Family Islands as well. Treasure Key, there's investments there. In Samson Key, another Rosewood resort's going to be there. These are all new investments. Why are they doing it? Because they have confidence in this government and they have confidence in the Bahamas.
Speaking of confidence, we talk about trust being an important factor. We talk about it all the time here at ZNS. In any administration, do you believe you still hold the trust of the Bahamian people? And what are you doing to improve the trust of the Bahamian people?
Well, first of all, I am working. Bahamians are right to be cynical about politicians, and I'm not going to fault them for that, because over the many, many years, we have continually promised a lot and not delivered on our promise. I am delivering on my promise. We had a blueprint that we are following assiduously, and yes, we know that we are slowed down a bit because of the inertia that is brought on by the bureaucracy of the public service, but we are fighting through that din, and we'll continue. And so that cynicism has no doubt bred the kind of mistrust that Bahamians have in the politicians and governments. I intend to reverse that by delivering. So I said I will cut VAT, and we did. I said that we will increase the minimum wage. We did. We said that we'll correct all the anomalies in the public service. We did. And we'll be building on those successes that we have. We said that we'll stabilize our fiscal condition. We have done that, right? And for example, when we took office, our debt to GDP was over 100%, which meant that we were spending more than we were making. We had no headroom. We met nothing in the till. That's what that meant. But today, we have dropped from over 100% debt to GDP to now low 80s and trending still further down. And that has been termed remarkable by all of our outside agencies who have come to see what we have done, because they never expected it to be done. And how did we do it? How did we do it? We relied on the Bahamian people. I believe in our Bahamian people. I didn't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. So when we came in, I put trust in the Bahamian people. How I put trust in them? I removed all of the draconian measures that was put in place by the previous government that shut down our economy, that starved our Bahamian people. I recall going into homes during my campaign. You go into household, the mother, the father, the children, no one is working. Right? That's not the case today in some instances, right? No one is working because they had a lockdown because of the COVID. I said, but Bahamian people, they're responsible. If you tell them what they have to do, they will do it. And so we removed lockdowns. We did away with the curfews. And I said to the Bahamian people, I believe in you. You know how to take care of yourself. We will beat this COVID because of your own conduct, because I believe you are responsible people. And I will provide you the tools to enable you to help us do it. And what I did, free testing, masks, and the like. And what happened? Our country rebounded in such a way that still astounds the international community. Because when we took over, we were at the bottom of the totem pole. When we compare our economy, how we handled the COVID with our counterparts in the Caribbean, we were down at the bottom of the list. And I'm not, if you notice, I'm looking forward. I didn't go to see what they were doing, because we roll up our sleeves. And with my team, we did what we have to do to ensure that we lift up our people, because we believe in them, because it was them. And I want to thank them as I speak today for working with us. And yes, we do appreciate the cynicism, but look, can you continue to work with us, and you'll see how we lift all of ourselves up out of where we want to be.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about politics and your opposition, the opposition, and we have some pretty interesting questions for you on that one. Rundown. We're back after this. Take a listen.
Hardware is the helpful place. Everything you need under one roof, from electrical, paint, plumbing, outdoor, barbecue, automotive, lawn and garden, pet supply, houseware, and seasons. Hurricane season is now here, so for all your hurricane needs, we have a 25% off bargain zone.
Hey, thanks. I would have given more stuff, but I didn't bring my money. I thought this was a club, and I thought everything was free. Finally know what it is now. Ace.
We're located on St. Albans Drive, West Bay Street, open Monday to Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and closed for lunch 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
JSC Bank, JMC TCI, and Sunset Village Fish Fry present I'm a Boatman, featuring KB and Fred, D-Mac, Tino D, Nishi Ellis, Sweet Emily, Wilfred Sullivan, Funky D, DVS, Veronica Bishop, Papa Smurf, Sherrod Taylor, Lil Joe Cartwright, Mama D, Colin McDonough, Chad Cully, and the VIP. And from Turks Island, the Proficient Band, and host Super P. There'll also be performances by The Swinger and the Platinum Nights Junkanoo Crew. Sunday, October 13th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock. Live sponsored by the Ministry for Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism.
I like Reagan Scrape, I like Junkanoo, with a color gold and a red love for my pool, yeah. I like Johnny Cake, yeah, with my fish too. What I don't need are the bird, that don't make a show, yeah. I like the beach, but I don't go in water. Just grab me a collect, that's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down, oh yeah.
Get ready for a game-changing show that's redefining entrepreneurship. Welcome to The Blueprint, where innovation meets inspiration.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Beckles, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to the Business Blueprint, the newest and most exciting entrepreneurship show coming to your screens. You can expect hard conversations and the answers you need to develop your business. As your host, I'm ready to celebrate the future of entrepreneurship and give you an exclusive look at the amazing work happening right now. On the Business Blueprint, we're bringing you face-to-face with the visionaries and trailblazers who are reshaping modern business in the Bahamas. From groundbreaking startups to game-changing ideas, we're diving deep into the stories behind their success. But that's not all. We're also bringing you mentorship insights, where we'll dive into your questions and share valuable tips directly from our experts. The Business Blueprint isn't just a show, it's a movement. We're here to inspire, inform, and ignite the entrepreneurial spirit in all of us. Whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur or just passionate about innovation, the Business Blueprint is for you. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Business Blueprint. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world of entrepreneurship. We can't wait to share the Business Blueprint with you. See you soon.
Welcome back to The Rundown. We're so happy that you're joining with us. Our guest, of course, is Prime Minister Davis. I want to take a time out here to acknowledge our sponsors because they're the reason why we're on the air. Jamaica Bahama Imports, Kalik, the I Am a Boatman concert with KB and Friends, CBS, Little Caesars Pizza, Ace Hardware, the Small Business Development Center, and of course, Bamboo Shack Express. All our sponsors for tonight. You want to be joined to that list, so make sure you call our sales department and get on board. This is where you ought to be, 8 to 9 o'clock every night, Monday to Thursday. Prime Minister, I want to get a couple more questions in before we're out of time. And obviously, one of those are, Prime Ministers, leaders of countries always think about a legacy. What do you hope to leave as your legacy as leader of the Progressive Party and, of course, Prime Minister of the Bahamas?
Well, I'm not in this for legacy. I'm in this to be able to lift my people up. And what comes out of that is ensuring that that happens. I would like to ensure that the Bahamas I've created is ensuring that there's access to opportunity for our people. I want to ensure that there is what I call economic security with dignity for our people. And I want to ensure that they live in a safe environment. That is what I'm working for. And that each Bahamian will be able to realize their God-given talent, skills, and potentiality. And if that happens for me, I'll be able to sleep well when my end has come.
What can young people expect? Young people always seem so disconnected from government and whether there's a future for them. Many of them go off to school, never return because they say there's nothing here for them. Is there a focus?
Yeah, there's a focus because we are, for example, we have started the National Youth Guard program, which is to instill patriotism in our people, let them know this country is theirs and that they have to take their rightful place in this country. It's a program that is instilling in them what I call the brothers keepers syndrome, where we look out for each other and in times of disasters, at the same time developing their skills so that they could have what I call lifetime skills to be able to take care of themselves. We have started and we are in what I call the second chance programs to ensure that those young people who be foul or have dysfunctional behavior, that they have an opportunity to redeem themselves through the police. We've also started, we now have the apprenticeship program to ensure that people are able to train in a way in skills that they would need to be able to develop themselves. And so investing in our youth, investing in sports to ensure that they have positive outreaches in sporting programs is something that we are doing and continuing to do. Unfortunately, there's this view that once every time I put it another way, all grass that looks green on the green on the other side is not usually green. And I just want to encourage our Bahamian people to continue to look at home, and there is room and space for our young people. But we must start by investing in them at home.
You talk about looking on the other side, so let's go right there into politics. Do you see Michael Pintard as a viable contender? In 2 years, they may be required to make a decision as to whether they re-elect you or somebody else. What say you?
Well, what do you mean by viable? He is the leader of the opposition. So I expect him to be the contender if they allow him to be. And whoever it is, we'll be prepared to take them on.
You say whoever there is, do you think it will change?
That's a matter for them. I'm not going to get in their business. As I said, right now, he is the contender. I expect that he would be at that time. And if he is, we'll see what the fate holds for him.
What can Bahamians expect for the next 2 years, sir?
They could expect that the foundation that we have laid, having stabilized the economy, having recovered us from the depths of crisis that we found in education, and health, and the economy, that we will be building on that to take us to the next level, where we'll have, as I said, where Bahamians will have access to opportunity, where Bahamians will have access to economic security with dignity, where Bahamians will be safe in their homes and places of work and on the streets.
Prime Minister, I'll give you the final thought tonight. Anything you want to say to the Bahamian people? It's your 3rd anniversary. You get the final thought, sir.
Well, I just say to the Bahamian people that it has been a privilege to be the leader of this country. I want to thank my parliamentary and cabinet colleagues who worked with us assiduously to be able to achieve what we have done today. And I want to say to the Bahamian people, I want to thank them as well, because if we're not for them, partnering with us, understanding what we're doing, I don't think we would have achieved what we had, and I want to thank them as well.
So I'll give you a trivia question. I give one trivia question for you. What do you think is your most outstanding program? Is it the Youth Guard program, the breakfast program, or of course, the program that's coming on for other young people in entrepreneurship, or the SPDC?
Well, let me just say this. Our breakfast program, where we've fed over 150,000 meals since it's coming into force, has to be a signature event initiative for us. Because when we think about young people in school having to contend with what I call an empty stomach, they are distracted from learning. And if we get young people to be attracted to learning, it will be what a wonderful country we'll be developing, because education is the key to the success of all of us and this country. And so the signature program of feeding our children, our young children, to be able to to concentrate on their work as opposed to concentrating where their stomach's empty, I think is one of my signature program. And we're touching the least amongst us. People are, and the poor and those who are in need is a priority for me. And wherever we could help, we are going to. And the program is being expanded. And we're expanding the program, so next year we'll be talking about probably feeding over 200,000, 300,000 people, children. And that is part of our mantra. Of course, there are a number of other goals we have met. Like I said, we have recovered. We didn't know that we would recover because of what we met, but we have recovered. We are now rebuilding, and we are revolutionizing the way what's the status quo cannot remain. And we are challenging the status quo as we speak. We think big because we think the Bahamian people deserve big things, not tweaking around the edges.
Prime Minister, it's been a pleasure. I subscribe to that. We thought big here at the Broadcasting Corporation. That's why we're doing big things here as well. Thank you so much, sir, for being here in our first show, The Rundown, and we continue to pray Godspeed over you and your administration.
Thank you very much, and Godspeed to you, and thank you for your prayers.
It's been a pleasure, and one of the programs that are coming up right after this is a special program called The Blueprint by the SBDC, Small Business Development Company. They're going to be talking about what their plans are, and that's coming up next right after The Rundown. That's it for The Rundown for tonight. For all of us here at ZNS News, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Don't forget to join us for the 11 o'clock news, a brand newscast tonight at 11. Good night, everyone.